cartoons. We all grew up loving them. But what if I told you some of them hide disturbing secrets? Watch till the end, because the last one surprised even me. Starting off with Winnie the Pooh. This one hits hard. I loved Winnie the Pooh growing up. I had plushies, stickers, and everything. But did you know every single character in the show represents a mental disorder? Winnie the Pooh, eating disorder. Christopher Robin, schizophrenia. The characters are in his head. Here's a video explaining it better.
Winnie the Pooh? Yeah, cute and fuzzy until you realize every character is literally a mental health diagnosis. Eeyore's depressed, Tigger's bouncing off the walls with ADHD, Piglet's anxious, Rabbit is definitely on edge, and Pooh, bro is definitely addicted to substances. His honey addiction ain't fooling me anymore. That wasn't a picnic, that was a group therapy session in the woods.
I'm honestly speechless. These were my childhood comfort characters, and now I can't unsee this. Like, did the creators really do this on purpose? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. It'll only get creepier, so keep watching. Next up is Peppa Pig. I made a video on Peppa Pig yesterday, but apparently there's more. And it gets worse. One banned episode actually encouraged kids to be friends with spiders. A little boy in Australia saw that episode, found a real spider, and was bitten by a black widow. He sadly didn't make it.
Kids shows that actually killed people. Peppa Pig banned episode. Now before we start this video, I'm not sure if all of this is true, so don't go hate on me. So mostly of the countries think Peppa Pig is safe for kids, but one Peppa Pig episode is banned in Australia. It was an episode about Peppa seeing a spider in her house. Later Peppa becomes friends with the spider. The message of the episode was supposed to say that spiders are friendly and won't bite or hurt you. One time there was a boy that lived in Australia. He really liked to watch Peppa Pig. He watched the episode of Peppa becoming friends with a spider. Peppa Pig named the spider Mr. Skinny Leg, since it was spider season in Australia. The boy wanted to give it a try and went outside to look for a spider. Little did he knew that some spiders actually can kill you. He found a black widow and picked it up, and some moments later the black widow bit him. The little boy was rushed to the hospital, but sadly he didn't make it. After the incident, Australia decided to ban the episode in their country.
I feel so bad for that kid. Why would they even show something like that in a place known for deadly spiders? That's beyond careless. This show gives me the creeps now. Next up, we have Squid Game. You guys probably know Squid Game from Netflix, but did you know it was based on something real? Back in the 1980s, South Korea had a real-life place called Brothers' Home. It was basically a concentration camp disguised as a welfare center. Thousands were taken off the streets and forced into labor, abused, and silenced.
Did you know that these were the real-life Squid Games? Back in 1980, Brothers' Home was a notorious facility located in Busan, South Korea. It evolved into a so-called social welfare institution by the early 1970s. However, it became infamous for its role in the systematic detention of the homeless, mentally ill, and other marginalized individuals during a period of political repression in South Korea. The facility was essentially a concentration camp disguised as a welfare center. It was part of a broader government initiative aimed at cleaning the streets of perceived social outcasts, particularly as South Korea prepared to host international events like the 1986 Asian Games and the 1988 Summer Olympics. Reports indicate that around 38,000 people were forcibly taken off the streets and confined within Brothers' Home, where they faced harsh conditions and abuse. The people held in these concentration camps were forced to perform certain activities that required physical exertion, and if they did not comply, they were severely punished. In summary, Brothers' Home serves as a stark reminder of the darker chapters in South Korea's history, reflecting the struggles of social outcasts and the state's oppressive measures during a tumultuous period. This act inspired the Squid Game series, reflecting many aesthetic and real-life similarities.
What the actual hell? RIP to all the innocent people who had to live through that. But let's move on to our next creepy cartoon backstory. Okay, this one might be the creepiest one yet. It includes cannibalism of Mufasa eating Scar. The scene shows Mufasa eating a skull that seems to look like another lion's head, possibly being Scar.
Hold up, so Mufasa dies in the Lion King, right? But what happened to his body? I made a Google research and found out that hyenas usually don't eat loins, and there's no other animal that eats them, except for other loins itself. Now watch this scene. One more time, but closely. No way. Is that a loin skull? So this means Scar ate Mufasa, his own brother. This is crazy.
Nope, just nope. I'm actually disturbed. I used to cry during Mufasa's death scene. Now I might scream next time I watch it. This was the creepiest one yet. This next one was unexpected, but it has something to do with SpongeBob. I know this one's gonna shock you. SpongeBob is supposed to be the most harmless show ever, right? Well, there's a lost episode called SpongeBob Sue Season 3 that's been creeping people out. In it, SpongeBob runs around town screaming. His eyes flash red, and everyone is gone. In part 2, he's unhinged, saying he gave his best years to the Krusty Krab and then attacks Patrick and Squidward. Here's a video explaining it better.
The lost episode of
SpongeBob.
So SpongeBob was a kids show which most kids like watching the show, but there was a lost episode called SpongeBob Sue SD3. So in this episode, SpongeBob is running around in town and screaming because everyone left town. He checks all the houses to see if anyone is here and his eyes turn red for a split second. Warning, this episode is really creepy and scary, so I suggest you scroll immediately if you don't like scary stuff. Here's the video.
Gone! 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 Where did everybody go? Go!
I'm running out of time, so I'll do.
That episode looked cursed. Honestly, I recommend staying far away from that one. I'm praying hard before sleeping tonight. Let's move on to our last creepiest cartoon of this video. And apparently, it was manipulating children. So stay until the end to see what this is about. Here's a video explaining it better.
This Mexican kids show vanished because it traumatized a lot of children. It was called Mimi y los Amiguitos, Mimi and her friends. This show aired in the 2000s, however there was only 3 episodes because after those 3 episodes it was completely gone. Mimi y los Amiguitos was meant to teach morals, but something went completely wrong. One of the shows ended with a creepy puppet saying "No hay salida, solo silencio." There's no exit, just silence. Parents complained that their children were too scared to sleep and some of them were too scared to even speak. They say that the final episode ended with a drawing of a dark tunnel saying, "She's in there, she's gonna get you." Another one said, "She's still inside, waiting." Canal 9 pulled the plug and no one ever found the episodes. Some believe it was a mind control experiment for little kids, but it wasn't confirmed. One of the creepiest things about this is that there's some parents that supposedly claim that this show still airs only if their child is watching the TV.
Some cartoons were clearly never meant for kids. Cute on the outside, cursed on the inside. Which one freaked you out the most? Comment cookie if you made it this far. Like and follow for more creepy stuff you weren't supposed to know. Editor, cue the outro song.
Shawty want me, now she wanna come around my way. Shawty know she